Hello, welcome to On Deck with DeRo and Arch. I am Eric DeRosset along with Darren Archer. Uh, just sort of a rainy day today and cooler temperatures really. We kind of say this every week, but today really felt like fall to me and a lot of the rain knocking off leaves off the tree and just sort of had a real fall feel to it. So that's a welcome thing on my end. I'm kind of ready for some cooler weather. So it's good to feel the fall temperatures, and with fall brings a whole plethora of sports that we you and I have talked about that. Great point in the sports year, intersection of football and basketball. Uh, Darren, it's been really good this week. Lots of things going on. Throw in the World Series in that. So big week in sports.
It has been and will continue to be so for the next few weeks, and especially this week when you have NHL, NBA, NFL, and MLB all playing during the same week. So, if you're a sports fan, it doesn't get much better than this. There's a smorgasbord for you to enjoy and go fill your plate.
Absolutely. And we'd be remiss if we didn't mention high school football actually starts their district play this Friday or Thursday and Friday.
Thursday and Friday, correct?
Yeah, for
Yeah.
some teams. So high school football becomes under the microscope even more than it usually is. So, yeah, just a great time for sports. Got a lot to talk about. We're going to dive right into it. I'm going to start with Division One college football. Uh, According to the rankings that I saw today, Darren had Ohio State 1, Indiana 2, A&M 3, Alabama 4, and Georgia 5. Uh, no, no real surprises there. Um, Vanderbilt, I believe, came in at 9, and Mizzou at 19. Um, Disappointing loss for Mizzou, I think. Uh, Tough place to play. College game day. Vanderbilt was fired up, but still, I think there had to be a level of disappointment in that loss for Mizzou, their players, coaches, and fan base.
Yeah, I think so. You know, the biggest loss, in my opinion, was Pribula going
Yep.
down with the ankle injury and the way it happened.
Yeah.
Um, there's some red flags there as far as how he became injured, and we won't really go into that discussion. That'll be for another day. But
Right. Right.
that was pretty sketchy, in my opinion, and so be it, I guess. But I think there were a lot of things to build upon. They This is the second game in the past 3 weeks that they played top 10 nationally ranked opponents and have been in both ball games.
Yeah.
And even with the success that they've had the past 2 or 3 years, they haven't been able to hang on with those top 10 teams.
Yeah.
And they're finally able to do so. Is it a disappointing loss? Absolutely, because there's going to have to be a lot of things happen. They're going to have to win out, number one.
Right.
And number two, there's going to have to be some other teams take one or two on the chin in order for their FBS playoff hopes to even have a glimmer of light. So uh, at this point, um, you know, they have a bye week coming up. I think that they've got to dust themselves off a little bit, and
Yeah.
because it doesn't get any easier. They've got a number three ranked opponent uh, coming up next.
Yeah. So a lot of things that you mentioned there sort of went through my mind. One of them is, I think we're starting to find out something about Vanderbilt. So I think from a fan perspective, it's hard to sort of take in the fact that, hey, we at Mizzou have a really good football team right now. And then to sort of in the next sentence say, we lost to Vanderbilt. Most years that doesn't, those two things don't go together. However, you and I have sort of sung Vanderbilt's praises for a couple of years now. It appears that they're pretty good. So I think the takeaway normally would be, oh, we lost to Vanderbilt. That's a really bad loss. I think probably it's hard for Mizzou fans, us included, to sort of reframe that and say, hey, we lost to a really good team at their place. Does that make sense where I'm going with that?
Absolutely. And LSU lost at Vanderbilt.
Yes.
And I really think that was the beginning of the end for Brian Kelly.
Yeah.
Another coach that, hey, probably worked a week or two too long to get his payday started.
Yeah.
Gosh, crazy.
Poor guy.
I'm
Don't
sure
you feel
that's
sorry
something
for him?
Not really, no. Man, it's amazing the buyout. I mean, these coaches are better off just.
Yeah.
I know it's not in their makeup, their DNA, but my goodness, the best job to have right now is to be an unemployed Division I college football coach.
He'll be 70 plus years old when the contract's paid out. It's
Crazy.
phenomenal. It's phenomenal. The next thing I'm going to kind of ease into a little bit on this Mizzou situation. And hey, I think they're really good. And I think you're right. I think they're playing really good teams really well. And they're fighting to get on the right side of that. I heard and read some things this week about sort of, I don't know, the context was, hey, can they win a big one, or can they beat a ranked team? Can they do that consistently? You and we're on board with Mizzou, and we think it's coming. We have no doubt about that. But are those whispers valid? Are they becoming stronger? Like, kind of, what's your take on that? The context of this article was that Mizzou was maybe a little stagnant and they weren't continuing to grow. They'd sort of plateaued a little bit. So I'm going to throw all that your way and let you comment.
I guess really the only comment that I have was that even a topic 2 years ago?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
come on, people. If you're looking for clickbait, I can see you writing an article like that. But my goodness,
Right.
you look at how far that program has come since Coach Drinkowitz and his coaching staff have taken over. They're able to get those in-state kids that prior they were losing to other programs, and they are in the national scene year in and year out here for the past 2 or 3 years, and they brought a lot of money into the university. With the bowl games and with TV exposure. I think this was the whole idea behind Mizzou originally getting into the SEC to begin with, is to start generating that type of money, that type of cash flow to help sustain a top-notch athletics program across the board. And my goodness, in this old coach's eyes, it's mission accomplished and then some. It's I think the bigger concern for Mizzou would be, are they going to be able to keep Drinkowitz around?
That was my next point. Yeah.
I mean, he's got to be on some short list right now from what he's in this program. So, yeah, I think that's splitting hairs, and I don't agree with that. I understand it comes with the territory.
Sure.
And, it's easy to sit behind a keyboard and ask those type of questions. But at the same time, I think Mizzou fans ought to feel awfully good about where the program is right now from where it came. And a lot of that success is pinned on Coach Drinkowitz.
For sure. And I'm going to just throw this out there. It is well documented. Well documented that Barry Odom was loved top to bottom by his players. Like, they loved him as a coach. And certainly no shot at him, but the ability that Coach Drink has had to get in-state recruits and broaden that base, and the recruiting part of it is different than it was under the Odom era. And again, not taking shots at Odom, because his players loved him universally, it seems. So, but you're right. Drink is, there's colleges out there courting him, and they've got the financial base to do that. That's the scary part. The Floridas and the LSUs of the world, it may be hard to turn down what they're offering. So I agree with you totally. What he's done at Mizzou's been fantastic, and in a relative short time. And let's just be honest, in the football world, like you don't build what he's built usually in that short of time. So I'm with you. I think maybe the little murmurs of criticism aren't justified at all. So going to switch gears here to Missouri State Bears football. We are recording this show on a Tuesday. They actually play tomorrow night on Wednesday night against Florida International. The Bears had what I would call a really significant win on the road, Conference USA, in overtime at New Mexico State last week. Puts them 2-1 in the conference. And you and I were talking off air. I think you wanted to sort of confirm something that we talked about in terms of bowl eligibility for the Bears.
Yeah, and hey, anytime we're right, we're going to boast about it. But anytime we're wrong, we're going to tell you about it. And I was wrong. Believe it or not, I was wrong. No, I was mistaken thinking that in the second year of the jump from the FBS or from the FCS to the FBS, Missouri State would be eligible this year, 2025, whereas they are not bowl eligible until 2026. Now, there are a few misnomers there that they could possibly get in, but there would have to be not enough teams in order to fill the bowl games, either by people declining bowls, teams with not enough wins to be bowl eligible, or a combination of the two. So I stand corrected. They are not bowl eligible this year, but there is a slim chance they could get in a bowl game.
For sure. This week's opponent, I already mentioned, Florida International. They are 1-2 in Conference USA with a loss last week to conference foe Kennesaw State. So good luck to the Bears tomorrow night as they look to go 3-1 in Conference USA, which I think I started to say the coaches at Missouri State would have taken that when the year started, but maybe not. They do a nice job there, and so they may have expected that. But from the outside looking in, if they go 3-1 here to start this year in Conference USA, I think that'd be a win on all accounts.
Absolutely.
Moving on to Division II, I'm just going to hit these briefly. MIAA in Missouri, your Missouri team, Northwest is leading that conference with a record of 6-0. They won a game over Nebraska Kearney this past week, 14-0. And Pitt State is second in the conference at 5-1. And those two, Northwest and Pitt State, will clash here in a couple weeks. So big game there in the MIAA. And locally, NAIA Evangel is 6-2 and 2-0 in the conference as they dive headlong into their conference schedule for the rest of November. So good luck to Evangel as they continue on. That kind of takes us to the end of our segment on college football. So I'm going to take us to break. When we come back, a lot of World Series things to talk about. One of the greatest games in World Series history took place just last night. So Darren and I are going to dive into that just a little bit. And then also towards the end of the show, we will have our segment, which is called Hold 'em or Fold 'em. So stay tuned for these messages and be sure to join us after the break.
Leaders know there's no guide to greatness. When everyone else says something can't be done, they know it only hasn't been done. Yet, true leaders weather the fiercest storms and look deep within themselves to rise above and help others find their way forward. At Great Southern Bank, we're proud to partner with visionaries that help raise the tide for all of us. And when you're ready to bring your vision to life, We'll be right behind you with award-winning support.
Any given Saturday. And a little work. And a little play.
Hey, little help?
And a truck that says no to nothing.
Hi, Dad. Can I give them a ride?
Yeah.
The Silverado Trail Boss and Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
And welcome back. You are watching On Deck with DeRo and Arch. I am Eric DeRoss along with Darren Archer. If you missed our first segment, please go back and check it out. We talked to all things college football in that first segment, so a lot there to unpack. Moving on in the show, I think we got to hit the World Series. Last night, game between the Dodgers and the Blue Jays went 18 innings. With a Freddie Freeman walk-off home run in the bottom of the 18th, in what has to be considered one of the greatest World Series games of all time. I think Darren, you mentioned you made it through the 11th or 12th inning, something like that, right?
Yes, I had to make a business decision. Was I getting up for work this morning? And I opted for work.
Yeah. Well, fascinating game. Ohtani, there's all kinds of ways we could go with this. Probably the first thing that I'm going to sort of take on is the Clayton Kershaw. He pitched a third of an inning last night, top of the 12th, bases loaded. They bring him in for a lefty versus lefty matchup. I think I read where he had pitched once in the last 30 days. And one of the knocks on Kershaw has been that, as good as he's been in his career during the regular season, he hasn't found the same success in the postseason on the regular. So I wasn't rooting for the Blue Jays and I wasn't rooting for the Dodgers, but in that moment, I think I was a Kershaw fan, and for him to get that one out, weak ground ball, second baseman made a great play on it to record the out, but they panned the crowd to his wife, and she was full of emotion. I'm sure he was full of emotion. In my mind, for me, and even though he's a Dodger, I think we were pulling for him in that moment, and for him to go out that way, I thought was really cool.
Absolutely. And ironically, his last outing was in the NLCS against the Brewers, and he was brought in for a long relief, pitched 2 innings and gave up 5 runs. And I was a little perturbed. I don't like Roberts anyway, but I was even more so upset with him that night because it was almost as if Kershaw was a sacrificial lamb.
Absolutely.
To get through to save innings. And I get it to a certain extent, but at the same time, if there's one guy you probably don't leave out too long in that situation, it's Clayton Kershaw at home.
Yeah.
And so I was glad to see him. I didn't actually see him, but I was glad to hear that he was able to do that. And, in what is more than likely his last outing as a major leaguer. And, what a way to go out, to come in that type of situation and get the weak ground roller and secure the inning.
Yeah. I think his career, kind of where you were going with that is his career deserved a better send-off than what he got that day against the Brewers. And so for him to get that moment last night, not only to get it, but to succeed in the moment, I thought was
right.
a brilliant way for him to go out. So
yeah, very fitting, fitting.
Congratulations to Kershaw on his milestone there to get a key out in the World Series for his team. I did see where he was in the top 2 or 3 out of the dugout in celebration after Freeman hit the home run. Like Kershaw is team all the way. And a guy that doesn't have to be. His accolades he could probably choose not to be team first. But he was, like I say, I think he was about third one out of the dugout that I saw on the home run. So moving on to Ohtani. So he reached base 9 times last night, 4 intentional walks. Then he walked a 5th time on his own. I'm going to start with this. They walked him in the 9th with nobody on. Mookie Betts and Freeman are hitting behind him. So we're talking 2 Hall of Famers. And it was still the right move, right? I mean, like, that's just how good he is. For him to be walked, no outs in the 9th with those 2 guys behind him, and nobody questioned it. That just speaks to how good Ohtani is.
Absolutely. And I'm telling you right now, if he sees another pitch in the World Series, you got to scratch your head. I don't care if it's a free hopper to home plate from the pitching mound.
Yeah.
Why? He's still going
Yeah.
to find a way to get on base. And,
Yeah.
you know, what we are seeing out of him is generational.
Right.
You know, have there been performances? You know, you can take a look back at Reggie Jackson and some of the performances that he had back when we were younger. But my goodness, the postseason that he is having this year has to rank amongst some of the best, if not the best, individual performances. Plus, you throw on what he's done on the mound. It's incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Yeah. And they're actually playing right now as we record this game, and Ohtani's on the mound for them. I saw an interview before the World Series game with Magic Johnson, and Jeter and A-Rod and David Ortiz were also a part of this interview, which is a star-studded panel, obviously. But Magic was mentioning him with names like that transcended not just baseball, but sport-wide. The panelists sort of threw Magic Johnson's name out there. And then Magic proceeded to put him in the same category with Jordan, Gretzky, Kobe Bryant. So when the stars are putting the star in that category, it tells you something about where the guy ranks.
Absolutely. Very well deserved. I mean, how can you argue that point?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to throw this at you, and before we move off the Ohtani subject. So walks don't count as official at-bats in the major leagues. So his last 7 official at-bats in Dodger Stadium. So this goes back to the NLCS, and it includes the World Series. Last 7 at-bats in Dodger Stadium. They go something like this: home run, double, home run, double, home run, home run, home run. Those are his last 7 official at-bats at Dodger Stadium.
Some people don't have a career that good.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously. And you know, you think about this. A lot of his salary is deferred.
Yeah.
I don't think we will be having a Shohei Ohtani day like we do Bobby Bonilla day right now. I think that day is going to be widely celebrated and will become a local holiday, so to speak, 15, 20, 30 years from now in the city of Los Angeles for making such a wise move and giving him that big time contract, but having that money deferred.
Yeah, absolutely. He is a star, a huge star, international. So, you know, again, we've kind of beat up on the Dodgers. Both of us have tonight, but while neither one of us are huge Dodgers fans, we can certainly respect what Ohtani is doing and has done and will do going forward. I've got one more stat about last night's game. I'm going to get to that here in a second. While I was doing some research for our show tonight, I come across this. Has nothing to do with World Series, but you as a Cubs fan will appreciate this. There was a baseball trade made in 1982, in the winter of 82, between the Phillies and the Cubs. The Phillies had a shortstop named Larry Bowa, And if you're not a baseball fan, or if you're not old like Darren and I, you probably don't know who Larry Bowa is. But he was an excellent shortstop for a decade and a half or so. Really did a good job. He was 36 years old at the time of this trade, and the brass at for the Phillies, Bowa wanted a 3-year contract. Okay, well, he's 36 at the time. That was a little more common in those days to extend guys out to their 40s or whatever. Obviously, that wouldn't fly now. There's not a 36-year-older that's getting a 3-year contract. Anyway, they traded Bowa, the Phillies did, to the Cubs for a shortstop named Ivan DeJesus, who was also a slick fielding shortstop. The year prior to DeJesus getting traded for Bowa, this tells you how good of a fielder he was. He hit a .194 and had 0 home runs and 13 RBIs in 104 games. So
he must have been a heck of a glove.
he must have been pretty slick out there.
Yes.
One of the caveats of this trade, and this is where I'm going with this, the Cubs asked for a player to be thrown in on the deal. A utility player is how they labeled him. And I actually read the newspaper clipping, and they threw in a utility player, and that player's name was Ryne Sandberg. And so Sandberg went to the Cubs along with Larry Bowa for this shortstop that hit a .194 in 1982. And the rest is history, as they say. Ironically, the Phillies with DeJesus went to the playoffs in 1983, the season after the trade. And obviously the Cubs win in 84, and Sandberg was a pillar to the Cubs during that time frame right through there. So a shout out to your Cubs and Ryne Sandberg, and I'm sure you were a Ryne Sandberg fan.
Oh my goodness, my favorite, probably athlete ever.
Yeah,
great. He was Cubbies baseball during that time period, and is still considered one of the best Cubs of all time. And funny story about that is that Dallas Green, who was the prior Phillies manager,
correct,
was the general manager for the Cubs. And he was willing to do whatever it took to make sure that Sandberg got thrown in. So he was gonna eat a 3-year contract to get Sandberg. And Sandberg was, a lot of people don't know this, but out of high school, he was the #1 rated quarterback in the nation.
Wow.
And chose baseball, rightfully so, and ended up being a very good decision.
Yeah. And hey, if you're not really close to baseball or don't keep up with it, Sandberg passed away this past year, gone way too soon for sure. Not only was he a great player, but he did it the right way. So anyway, I just saw that story today and thought I'd throw it in and give Mr. Sandberg and your Cubbies some love there.
You bet. Thank you.
The final stat from the World Series that I saw today is perhaps most impressive. It is policy in major league stadiums, whether it's regular season or playoffs, that they stop serving alcohol after the 7th inning. Okay. So the stat that I saw in regards to last night's World Series game, the 18-inning game, was that there were more innings in the game that they didn't serve alcohol than there was that they did serve alcohol. So 11 innings for some of those fans without alcohol.
There were a lot of thirsty people.
That may have been a long haul for some of those people. So,
and DeRo, I learned something tonight. I had no idea they stopped serving alcohol after 7th inning of baseball games.
Really? Huh.
Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, I'm just going to leave that one alone. I'm just going to leave that alone. I will say this. I know you know better. I know you know better. So
I may have heard it. I don't know.
Moving on to the final part of our show. We like to call it Hold 'em or Fold 'em. In this segment, I'm going to give Darren 3 teams or situations in national sports where he has to hold them or fold them. I'm going to give him a scenario and give him some details about each scenario, and then I'm going to get his opinion. If you haven't seen our show previously, go back and watch. I think this is becoming our favorite part of the show. So I'm going to start with the Indianapolis Colts. We have talked about them before. I'm going to take a little different twist on it. The reason I'm going to feature the Indianapolis Colts is, one, Darren's from Indiana. Secondly, between the Indiana college football program and the Indianapolis Colts, Indiana's kind of got football figured out right now. The Colts 7-1, Indiana what 8-0 or something along those lines. So hey, shout out to your boys from Indiana. It's supposed to be a basketball state, right?
Well, I grew up thinking that. Evidently, they're getting the football side of things figured out. And my goodness, good time to be a football fan in the state of Indiana.
Absolutely. The Colts are 7-1 on the season. I don't think there's any pundit out there at all that would have seen a 7-1 start for the Colts. Their lone loss is to the Rams, which is a formidable opponent. I think we would both agree with that. Next 3 games or the next 3 weeks, I'm sorry, is Pittsburgh, Atlanta, and a bye week. So I think where I'm going to go with this is, are you going to hold them or fold them for the Colts to get to the AFC Championship? Now, obviously, it's a tournament bracket, and it depends on how everybody finishes and all those kinds of things. But just generally speaking, would you hold them or fold them to get to the championship? That's the first part of it. And then the second part would be, do they have a puncher's chance to beat the Chiefs in an AFC Championship game if it came to that?
Wow. I think the way things are right now, I'm holding for the Colts to get to the AFC Championship.
Yeah.
And the reason that I say that, it pretty well aligns for Buffalo and Kansas City to meet in that 2-3
Yes.
semifinal, so to speak. And that, in my opinion, those are the top 3 AFC teams. Somebody may get hot, and you know how football is. A lot can happen between now and playoff time with injuries and
Sure.
different things along those lines. But as of right now, I'm holding. And I think if they host the AFC Championship game in Indianapolis, I'm going hold them.
Wow.
I think they are that good. Their defense is that good. I think they're going to rack up a lot of wins just because of their division.
Sure.
And end up with that 1 seed if they stay healthy. And they've kind of been a piece or 2 away for the last 2 years, especially at the quarterback position.
Yeah.
And the passing game that Daniel Jones has been able to establish has really opened up their running game, and that's kind of their forte. And their defense has stepped up. So yeah, I'm holding them on both. What about you?
Yeah, I kind of like them to get there. The point you made about KC and Buffalo having to go through each other to get there. If Indianapolis can avoid one of those 2 teams in the quote unquote semifinals and make Buffalo and KC beat up on each other, I think that I would be more prone for sure to hold them, as anybody would be.
Sure.
So if they can get the 1, I like it. I like their chances, and I even like their chances maybe to win the whole thing in terms of AFC. If they end up in that 2 or 3 slot, not so much probably.
Yeah.
I think it's tough sledding right there, but and here's two sentences we wouldn't have dreamed of last year. The sentences are: the Colts lead the AFC in scoring. Daniel Jones is their quarterback. Like, to put those two sentences together a year ago, we wouldn't have dreamed either one of those, let alone both of them.
No, it's been incredible the run that they're on, and hopefully they can keep it up. It's been a lot of fun to watch, and especially for an old guy from Indiana,
Absolutely.
that's struggled through. Hey, I don't pick them very well. I'm a Colts fan. I'm a Cubs fan. When we get on a winning streak, buddy, life is good for me. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah, because you never know when it's going to come back
No,
around.
that's right.
And-
Reality normally hits pretty quick.
And you and I don't have a whole lot longer in this
That's right.
in this old world, so
You got that right.
we got to take it while it's there, don't we?
Exactly.
Second one on Hold'em Fold'em. The second team we're going to talk a little bit about is the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets football team. They are probably the quietest 8-0 in college football right now. Obviously, they play in the ACC. ACC is, by all accounts, not super strong across the board football wise. Probably their signature win, if they had one, would be they beat Clemson earlier in the year when Clemson was ranked. Otherwise, I don't think they've played a ranked team to this point. Their last 4 regular season games go something like this: North Carolina State, Boston College, Pitt, and Georgia. They're 8-0 right now. So my Hold'em or Fold'em question for you is, will Georgia Tech be undefeated at the end of the regular season? Are you going to hold them or fold them? Are they going to be NC State, Boston College, Pitt, and Georgia?
The first 3, I believe so.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think where I actually watched the Georgia Tech game last year.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember where it was played, but it went into like 5 or 6 overtime. I mean, just an incredible college football game, of a game that I just happened to be flipping through and could hear a lot of noise. So I stopped it and happened to watch it. But if that game's at Georgia Tech, I'm going to give them a puncher's chance.
Wow.
Because they're playing with house money, and Georgia Tech has shown that there's a few chinks in the armor there. They're getting better, but I don't think they're some of the Georgia national championship teams good, if that makes sense.
Yes, that does make sense.
I mean, I'm still not convinced they're the best team in the SEC. They will probably end up in the SEC championship game, possibly. I mean, to me, Texas A&M is kind of it. I mean, they're beating people and beating people soundly. So, gosh, I'm going to be folding.
Going to fold
I'm
them.
going to be folding just because that Georgia game, I've got a feeling may be at Georgia. I may be wrong on that, but that'll be a tough game.
It will be. It will be. And it would be cool, if they did end up undefeated, like just in terms of playoffs and the end of year tournament format that the NCAA has now gone to, like, it'd just be interesting. It would be interesting.
Well, and here's the deal. I think that if they do beat Georgia and go on to win their championship game, hey, they're a first round bye team.
I think that's right.
By beating Georgia,
they're top. They're top 4,
and they're going in undefeated. Yeah, I think they're a bye team that first round.
Yeah, and so, and hey, I just think that would be cool. I think it would be good for the sport.
Absolutely.
again, I think it speaks to parity and NIL and all those things that you and I beat to death over the last few weeks. So kind of be fun to watch them. The other side of that is Georgia Tech's going to get whatever NC State's best is, or Boston College best is, or like Pitt's, like they're going to see some things. Every trick play, they're going to see it all. So I think, weirdly, I think they will be a little bit tested by the time they get to Georgia, just in terms of those three conference teams are going to take their best shot.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It'll be fun to watch, fun to keep up with. So I probably got them as a fold them to go undefeated. If I'm just being honest, I don't know that they get Georgia. I do agree with your assessment, though, that Georgia is a little more human than some of their other Georgia teams have been of late. So last one. I'm going to approach this one a little differently. I'm going to give you the stats, the background information. I'm going to give you all those things before I give you the name of the team. And I think you will be surprised. I think the viewers will be surprised. This team is an AFC team. They are third in points scored, and they are only 1 point behind the Chiefs. So effectively, they are the second best scoring team in the AFC. They are second in fewest points allowed in the AFC. They are presently 6-2. Their next three games are against the Falcons, the Buccaneers, and the Jets. My hold 'em and fold 'em question is going to be, are you going to hold them or fold them to win their division? So now I'm going to tell you who they are.
Okay.
The New England Patriots.
Yeah, I never would have guessed that.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds more like a Buffalo Bills team that's lost, what, 3 or 4 games.
Right.
Gosh. And I have to get through Buffalo to win their division. I'm going to go hold them.
Hold them to win their division.
I think they're playing with a little bit of moxie and a little bit of mojo, and and they've got some great minds on the offensive and defensive side of the ball, calling plays. It's kind of the old New England reunion tour, and it's worked out pretty well to this point.
Yeah, the whole Vrabel and Josh McDaniel, Vrabel defensive mind and McDaniel offensive mind, like, hey, both those guys know a little bit about what they're doing on their side of the ball.
Absolutely. They've proven it.
The stats sort of speak to that this year. I'm like you. I would have never, that would have not been a team that I would have guessed to be in those statistical top 2 or 3 there. I think their schedule is favorable as well. Falcons, Bucks, Jets, over the next 3 weeks. You're right. It all goes through Buffalo in terms of winning that division. But Drake May's playing well. I think their defense will get nothing but more fine-tuned as they just sort of make minor adjustments here and there. I think both those 2 coaches' minds are really, really good. I think they're prep for opponents. And at that level, at the NFL level, like, we know this, like, every coach is really, really, really good. Like, they wouldn't be there if they weren't just the cream of the crop. However, you got to like Vrabel and McDaniel as in terms of prepping their teams week in, week out. So I'm with you. I'm going to hold the Patriots to win their division. So we will see if Josh Allen has anything to say about that. So, Darren, it's been good. We've enjoyed the time this week with you. We probably ought to bring this to a close, and I think you and I are both planning to check out a little World Series action here for the rest of the night. So, thanks for hanging out and discussing sports with me tonight.
Absolutely, always enjoy it, and especially the hold 'em fold 'em part. Boy, you get my ears smoking a little bit with some of the questions and teams you bring forth. I love it.
Well, I've enjoyed that as well. So, and hey, I'll just throw this out there, viewers. It doesn't have to be. We've used situations before. Last week, if you didn't catch our episode, we talked a little bit about the Rick Barry granny shot free throw and whether or not we would hold them or fold them in terms of teaching that to our athletes. So, if you have a team or a concept that you would like Darren and I to sort of go through a hold them, fold them scenario with, we'd love to hear from you. And we've got several ways in which you can contact us. And I'm going to let Darren just touch on those contact methods just briefly here.
You bet. Give us a direct message through Twitter or X. You can contact me at Missouri_sports, and you can contact DeRo at DeRo_on deck. You can also reach out to us through Facebook and YouTube. Be sure to give us a like and follow and subscribe whenever you check in.
I actually had a gentleman that I work with this week said he had subscribed to us this past week and
Good.
and had really good things to say about our show and particularly you. His question was to me, he's a baseball coach, and his question to me, Darren, was how much baseball coaching experience you had, and he was going to maybe bring you on and offer you a baseball job.
He can do much better than me, I can tell you that.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Much better, I promise you.
Well, I think once a coach, always a coach. I think you could find your way for sure. So, viewers, thanks for joining us. Be sure to check out previous episodes if you haven't done that. We try to do this show once a week, basically during the school academic year. So stay with us and check us out once a week if you would. And we have some really incredible sponsors that help make this possible as well. So with all of that, Darren, I'm going to sign us off. And viewers out there, thanks for joining us, and we will see you next week.
This has been a presentation of the Missouri Sports Network. Thank you for tuning in.